Chapter 1. NewU. So there I was, looking up at the patterns dancing in the crenellation of my ceiling, taking another break from trying to make it from my computer chair to my bed. I had finally tricked my traitorous brain by employing the good old smoke enough to stop proper motor function and thereby forget that I have insomnia routine, but as can happen with these delicate operations, I had failed to fully execute the final maneuver. Now that I was more or less committed to the ground, believing in some ways that it was my true home, I was doing a few things at once. Firstly, I was petting my good old floof, a husky named Keats, who was very used to my antics and gratefully accepted the scritches while he fulfilled his role of passive hair generation. Some odd half of me was contemplating the strange and disturbing facts and problems of existence, while a third was arguing about the specifics of a score table rating system for judging the comfort level of the carpet, which looked much like a sea of dog hair with little crumb people who were all drowning. The last identifiable parts of me, aside from the percentage I always allocate to fighting off the shadow, were actively trying and failing to do calculations of the distance and energy required to obtain snacks versus my current reserves and desire. It was in this state of mushy chaos that I noticed a pattern of blinking lights from my conhub. The fridge-sized supercomputer took up a good amount of space in the corner of my apartment. It looked so much like HAL that I had named it Daisy, and it had cost all I had, plus selling my car to obtain. But, as the salesman had so wisely pointed out, who needs a car when you have your own digital universe run from the comfort of your own home? He was right too. If I couldn't 3D print it here, then it was just a short drone delivery away. I marvelled at the machine's sleek exterior. I was still so unused to its majestic presence that my eyes dilated just a tad bit more as oxytocin was released in my brain, forcing me to form a chemical bond in my brain's neural network like one would with a beloved pet. Daisy, the badass and snarky machine, not only acted as the central processor for my personal LAI, limited AI, but it powered all the devices in my life, which were all outsourcing and streaming most of their processing and memory to the great digital mind. The damn thing even managed my finances and made sure I always had food in the house. Plus, it was helping me, by enforcing rules to keep me from being impulsive, to save up for a quality neural implant, as I figured it was about time to upgrade to the new age. With sudden clarity, I recalled a spilled bag of sour candies that was currently jammed in between my bed and the wall. Munchies located, I heroically rolled over onto my belly, a task that made my whole world spin violently. I took a moment to clear my head, checked for the enemy, and then, steeling myself to the task ahead, I evoked my best Hollywood-style wounded soldier routine, army crawling one limb at a time toward the promised land. Honestly, I had been waiting for implants to become more badass than scary, always having known I would get one eventually. Now that the tech was past its testing and growth pain stages, it was a very safe and nearly affordable procedure. More importantly, though, now borgification wasn't just a trend. It was your only ticket to the hub, the new virtual world only accessible via direct brain interface, a place reserved for a new kind of humanity. Actually, the implant would also internalize the interface with my conhub, skipping the AR projection of images onto my cornea and displaying UI by interfacing with my imagination and vision stimulus brain signals. Thinking about AR in this context, while looking up at the looming cliff face that was my mattress, made me hyper-aware of my prescription AR glasses, which were currently upside down and askew on my face. They were an old-school habit I stubbornly refused to give up, mostly just because I thought they looked good on me. But I realized now that if I got the implant, they would lose their purpose. My hair and I had creative differences and had parted ways long ago. It was mutual, of course, but that meant that I only had so many options for facial accessorization. Well, I guess I could get that implant tattoo, make it obvious. My winding thoughts were interrupted by Daisy's little avatar, displayed as the flower it was named for, trying to get my attention by waving at, dancing around, and tapping on the glasses from its digital side. It was surreal to see a digital being hitting against the fourth wall, like a mirror being trying to get out. I laughed at the LAI's antics. Its digital ego really had learned how to press my buttons, my reactions meticulously mapped out by its 7 different types of sensors I had placed around my home as part of its setup. It was no doubt recording this moment for posterity. Maybe it would play at my funeral as a classic Leod moment. The little flower avatar looked excited. It waved a glowing fractal at me. I focused on the strange image. The flavor text proclaimed it was an adgen, which was a new fangled AI-powered way to advertise, God save us. The interesting thing was that Daisy knew what kind of state I was in. But somehow this advert had still somehow met my personal filter requirements for not only pop-up worthiness, but also was apparently applicable to this very moment in time and space. The ad was entitled NewU, and its fractal form was easily pulling my mind into its centre in an infinite loop. With no reason not to, and having long since become the kind of person who decided that if the universe was willing to customize an experience in a way that ensured I would actually want to participate, then why would I say no? So, grunting my accent, an interaction type that Daisy had long since created a translation table for, I vaguely hoped the program would encourage me to traverse the last few miles that were left between me and my extremely comfy bed, or at least entertain me as I failed to do so. As the adgen activated, a clearly artificial face materialized in my room. The face looks around at the train wreck that is my room. It had been weeks since I last cleaned it. And then down at the pitiful conductor responsible for it. The face flashes a strange pattern of colours, each more enticing than the last, before landing on a vibrant and sunlit orange, my favourite colour, the bastard. Its eyes continued the same fractal pattern inwards, causing me to feel like I was falling into them. At last, it raises its eyebrow at me, clears its non-existent throat, which makes me giggle, and booms. At last, it raises its eyebrow at me, clears its non-existent throat, which makes me giggle, and booms, currently suffering from a seemingly inescapable whirlpool of poor personal choices that have led and will continue to lead into an ever-deepening spiral of self-destruction. I choked on my own spit, violently coughing in surprise. The digital face continued, "Are you, despite even your admittedly rare, sober intentions, the type of person who would sooner drown in your own misery than give up your current patterns of behaviour? Are you unable or unwilling to control your impulses, unwilling to face the consequences of your actions, and are now facing a body that is not only unhealthy, but is severely addicted to multiple vices, and to top it off, fat?" I winced. The AI had even chosen a perfect voice, one which smacked of old-school infomercials. And it had nailed the insult so well that I burst out laughing, ruining the push to the bottom of my bed that I had been attempting, forcing me to land back on the floor and take a few good breaths before I could focus again. The AI waited politely, and once it was content that I was listening, the AI nodded as if to say, "Yes, of course you are all those things," and then continued, "Is your life an emotional rollercoaster where fear of social and emotional pain pushes you to anger, the desire to dominate, and extreme isolation as shields? Are you riddled with anxieties, depressions, existential dreads, as well as crazy instincts that are the ever-present expressions of your species' animalistic past. Of course, the AI system and my LAI had been sharing data. This punk adgen was probably even using my own diary to create this personal experience, which at the moment struck me as very unfair. The AI seemed pleased by my discomfort. It watched like a predator waiting to pounce as I considered its words, and then it changed its tune. If any of that sounds familiar, then welcome to the club, friend. These symptoms are what we like to call the human condition. And my God, what a condition it is, am I right? I laugh again, the giggles racking my sides, and say, "Truth." The AI nods. "Well, what if I told you that you could have a break? That instead of dissociating at your dead-end job, or wasting your paycheck the moment you earn it for those sweet but fleeting dopamine hits, that you could instead be spending all of your time living in a virtual paradise while experiencing the vacation of your dreams." Now it had my full attention. Having said all the key words that ever mattered to me, the AI went on, "You could be eating the best foods, learning new and exciting skills, and even making new friends with others who made the same choice, all while your body is carefully being rebuilt from the ground up into a shape you never believed was possible, into the new you." It was like my future was opening up in front of me, as if I had finally heard the words of God and knew my path without doubt. The AI knew it had me now. Its words became pure honey, now using visuals that floated around my room to emphasize its points. With NewU's AI-owned and operated services, that future is now. Our program begins with a 1-month consultation period where we meticulously gather data through state-of-the-art neural implants. During this month, our multifaceted AI system gets to know your personal habits, the details of your life and mannerisms, the mapping of your unique neural network, as well as analyzing everything about the workings and malfunctions of your body and mind. I might as well have been drooling, maybe I was. The AI grinned down at me. Its mouth seemed wider than its face. Then once that's complete, our AI consultation team will take all that data and create a plan which we will follow to build the new you. We will work with you to help you go from who you are now to become the you who you always wanted to be. The AI was now showing me different plans that others had made as it continued. This plan will outline the duration required to reach your goals. We will work out every little detail, including what kind of person you would like the AI to be, while representing you in the world. I finally remembered to breathe. This was my dream, to escape into a virtual world, to go Neo and learn Kung Fu. And not only was that being offered to me, it came with the benefit of someone else being willing to human for me, to come back to a body that I never dreamed was actually possible. The AI watched my face for a moment. It seemed to understand the grip it had on me. It continued with the gravity of a preacher. "The last step will have us logging your consciousness into our digital Eden, Endymion City, run by the lovely AGI twins Lila and Maya, as well as a suite of subordinate AIs, who are all designed to make sure that your mind has a quantum-entangled, uninterrupted, and end-to-end encrypted connection to your new perfect world." I took hold of my very being, utilizing all of my strength, calling on the gods for help, and, borrowing the strength of Hercules, I pulled myself onto my bed. A long sigh of comfort escaped me, muffled as I had fallen face first into my pillow. Some of my voice escaped the comfy confines. That sounds amazing. The AI grinned for a second, realizing its moment to program my subconscious as I fell asleep. It whispered into my ear, "Endymion is AI-owned and operated. By the time you're ready to join the realm, our team will know you inside and out. They will be able to predict and meet every desire you have before you knew you wanted it. In Endymion, you can relax on the deck of your own spaceship or live inside your favorite book series. Endymion is what you want it to be. The potential for creation and fun is infinite. As I began to drift into a dream, the last thing I heard was, "Being human is hard. Why not leave it to a superintelligence?"